America really was a leader when it came to Internet 1.0. It was the Internet of knowledge. And the Internet 2.0, again, it was America that led that for the world, not just for our citizens, but for the world. And that was the Internet of things. And then Internet 3.0 is what we're talking about today, and that's the Internet of value. And we're approaching it in a principled way. Colleagues here mentioned a couple of those. Number one, do no harm, protect consumers, regulatory structure, that certainty. And secondly is foster innovation, because the opportunities are unimaginable.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was a short clip from the Digital Asset Conference that took place yesterday, of course, headed up by David Sachs, the newly appointed crypto czar. And what was spoken about there is the Internet of Value that is being formed before our very eyes. And we're going to talk about a critical player that is actually going to enable that. And of course, I am referring to Chainlink. Now, Chainlink is an enabler of this Internet of Value that we are forming. And in this video, we're going to explore this and remind people of it, because Chainlink often really gets undercovered, underloved, underappreciated. And actually, it's such a critical part of everything that it deserves more attention. And this is perhaps a refresher, a reminder, and a call to take interest in this project as it's going to play such a vital role. What we're now going to be diving over to is a clip of Sergey talking about the US really accelerating what's coming, and we'll be covering what is coming. Ladies and gentlemen, there are thousands, millions of cryptos out there. Most of them will not survive, but one I'm confident that will is Chainlink, and we're here to remind you of that. Let's dive into this clip of Sergey.
See in 2025 is that we're going to go very far beyond what has happened so far. The regulatory environment in the US is massively going to accelerate the adoption of blockchain technology. It's something that very clearly is now aligned with our industry's goals of creating a highly transparent, highly interoperable, global Internet of contracts. This is really the only place that I could see our industry going now, is that it is the way that financial transactions now occur both in the US economy, outside the US economy, and globally. At the end of the day, I think what the Chainlink community needs to really get good at in the coming years is working with the existing systems, the existing standards, the existing legal system, so that it can be defining how to technically implement this new global financial system. I think we're already very well on the way from our great work as a community in 22, 23, 24, and even before then. And I think 2025 is going to be a year where we're going to see a lot of that great work come to fruition with very valuable, high-end, high-quality institutional use cases. At the same time, I see DeFi realizing that the institutional world is seeing the value of DeFi, and DeFi is seeing the value of their brand and the quality of the assets that they can bring on-chain. And these assets will diversify the risk of DeFi, and it will give various forms of collateral that DeFi historically hasn't had access to. What DeFi will do is create yield and various other exciting opportunities for these assets and collateral. So really, these two groups, in my opinion, are inevitably destined to work together to create this Internet of contracts. Similarly to how in the early days of the internet, you had big companies on the internet and you had innovative startups on the internet, and they all interacted with each other over the internet. What's important now is that there is a global set of standards that is accepted across jurisdictions, across legal systems, as the reliable way to define transactions, to send value and information across chains, to provide identity on chain, to provide various forms of data on chain, and to create this interconnected web of systems and counterparties that allows all different categories of counterparties, categories of users to interact with each other.
What we have there is Sergey talking about that Internet of Value and the enabling of it. And he also talks about the roles of DeFi as it relates to institutional instruments, and actually how we'll be able to leverage those institutional instruments within the DeFi ecosystem, within the Web3 ecosystem, to garner yield. We're already seeing this with the likes of stable coins, but it doesn't just stop and start there. Value is being fundamentally transformed in regards to technically how we use and interact with it. And Chainlink is at the core of that. And I think a testament to that is their partnership with Swift, that has over 11,000 banks that are working under that system. DTCC, the largest clearing agent in the world, Euroclear, etc., etc., etc. I can't underemphasize how important Chainlink is going to be. And he talks about standards. Those standards are ISO standards. Now, Chainlink might not be ISO, but doesn't really need to be for what it's doing. It's trying to be a protocol that essentially enables those ISO cryptos to take hold and revolutionize the traditional financial system. This is coming, and it's good for me to make videos like this when everyone's getting a little bit disheartened, a little bit fed up with the cryptocurrency space, because nothing has changed. And the opportunity that we have in front of us cannot be understated. Let's play another clip of Sergey.
2024 was a very big year for the entire crypto industry, but very specifically for the Chainlink community. I think we continued to solidify our lead in the DeFi space, powering the majority of DeFi. We also saw a huge amount of adoption in the capital markets. This adoption, I think, is really starting to form the future of our industry because of the amount of value that you find within the capital markets space. That value really can't be found anywhere else. And it's really the source of capital that's going to allow our industry to grow to the next stage. This is now starting to become clear very slowly through some tokenized funds, but I think it's going to go very, very, very far beyond that. 2024 was a very big year where multiple central banks, multiple governments started working with Chainlink in various ways to collaborate on how to build a global financial system that runs on the Chainlink standard. The value of the Chainlink standard to the global financial system is that it creates highly reliable agreements, highly reliable transactions, and something that is fundamentally better than the current existing financial system. The financial system, however, is already built on a set of existing technologies. And those technologies won't be going away because there's so many banks and asset managers that rely so heavily on them. The challenge in 2025 will be to continue to build what the DeFi community needs to make sure that the market share and the adoption of Chainlink in the public chain DeFi community space continues to grow as it has been over the last years, and to remain secure as we have for the 5+ years that Chainlink has operated successfully. And now to continue to expand into the capital markets. Expanding into the capital markets is really the next stage, I think, of the Chainlink communities and the Chainlink protocols and the Chainlink standards growth trajectory. It's the ability to define transactions for the capital markets in a technical way that allows them to transact both with each other and with the DeFi community.
I think a lot of things become clear when we play those clips, and this is ultimately what is before us. And I really can't understate Chainlink's role in all of that. It's going to become the kind of standardized protocol that is essentially going to enable all of this. And really, to finish things off, we could talk about, and we have done previously, what they're doing with Euroclear, what they're doing with DTCC, what they're doing with Swift, how this ISO compliant framework is coming into effect November this year. And actually, Chainlink is a connective tissue for all of that. And certainly for somebody like myself who's an investor in Chainlink, this is where we did the majority of our investing during this accumulative range, what we would call phase 1 in regards to a market. Then we had a phase 2 breakout on volume, a declining volume, and then a resurgence. This is a phase 2 breakout from here, and then a retest. And now we're looking at that continuation. And this is just a pullback in what is a broader trajectory and journey for Chainlink, likely into the multiple hundreds of dollars. Certainly when a lot of these kind of institutional use cases and kind of POCs become actual or actually start to get into play. So despite the kind of turbulent time that we're seeing, I can honestly say my portfolio generally is up, and that's because the majority of it is very heavily focused in coins that I'm sure of, and then we go further out the risk curve with smaller percentages. If you guys want to unlock that, do consider becoming a Patreon. But this video is more sort of a bit of a reminder, a bit of a recap in regards to the juggernaut that Chainlink is and is going to continue to be, and the actual standard and precedent that it's setting within the cryptocurrency space, but more broadly the traditional financial system, so that these two industries can merge with one another. And I know it sucks, guys, when the price action is doing what it's doing broadly across the space, but you've got to have that bigger vision in mind and be able to stomach the volatility to ultimately get to that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed this Chainlink video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.